Once upon a time, in the ancient land of Egypt, there was a powerful god named Anubis, whose realm was the world of the dead. He was unlike any other deity, for Anubis held the sacred role of guiding souls into the afterlife and overseeing the rituals of mummification. With the head of a jackal and a body of a man, he stood as a symbol of both fear and reverence, his black fur representing both the fertile soil of the Nile and the eternal sleep of the dead. Anubis's story begins long ago, when death was still a great mystery to the Egyptians. As the god of death and mummification, it was Anubis who first taught the ancient people the sacred rites needed to preserve the body for the journey to the afterlife. His presence was felt in every tomb and at every burial, ensuring that no soul would be lost to the chaos of the underworld. His role was not just to safeguard the dead, but to prepare them for eternity. When a person died, their body was carefully prepared through the process of mummification, a sacred act that Anubis himself was believed to oversee. Priests, dressed in jackal masks to honor him, would perform the intricate rituals, wrapping the body in linen to preserve it for the long journey ahead. This act was not just a burial, but a sacred rite that guaranteed the soul would be reunited with the body in the afterlife. But Anubis's duties didn't end there. Once the mummification was complete, it was Anubis who led the soul through the dark and winding paths of the underworld. He was the guide, the psychopomp, who safely delivered the deceased to the Hall of Ma'at, where their fate would be decided. Here, in the Great Hall, the moment of truth arrived. Anubis would stand beside the scales of judgment, where the heart of the deceased would be weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the soul had lived a righteous life, and was granted entry into the field of reeds, a paradise of eternal peace. But if the heart was heavier, burdened by wrongdoing, the monstrous Ammit, part lion, part hippo, and part crocodile, would devour the soul, ending its chance for eternal life. Anubis, ever impartial, ensured that the scales were balanced and fair, his presence a solemn reminder that no one could escape the judgment of the gods. Anubis's connection to death goes even deeper. Long before Osiris, the god of the underworld, rose to power, it was Anubis who first reigned over the dead. But when Osiris was betrayed and killed by his jealous brother Set, it was Anubis who played a vital role in Osiris's resurrection. Alongside Isis, Osiris's devoted wife, Anubis used his knowledge of mummification to carefully reassemble and embalm the broken body of Osiris. Through these sacred rites, Anubis breathed new life into Osiris, allowing him to rise and become the eternal ruler of the underworld. Anubis, though once the primary god of the dead, willingly stepped aside, allowing Osiris to take the throne while he continued his duty as the protector and guardian of souls. Even after Osiris became the ruler of the underworld, Anubis's role remained essential. He was the guardian who ensured that the souls entering Osiris's realm were properly judged, and that the rites of death were carried out with the utmost care and respect. His presence in tombs, depicted in countless paintings and carvings, reminds us of his unwavering duty to protect the dead from harm. Anubis's image with the head of a black jackal was no accident. Jackals were often seen around Egyptian cemeteries, scavenging among the graves. The ancient Egyptians believed that by giving their god the form of a jackal, they could control this scavenging and turn it into something sacred. Anubis's black fur, the color of both death and the life-giving soil of the Nile, symbolized not only the end of life but also the promise of rebirth. Worship of Anubis was widespread, and his followers revered him in temples and tombs alike. In the city of Sinopolis, meaning City of the Dog, he was honored as the divine protector of the dead. Here, priests and followers alike would offer prayers and incense, asking for Anubis's protection and guidance as they laid their loved ones to rest. His priests, during mummification rituals, would don jackal masks, becoming a physical embodiment of Anubis's presence as they performed the delicate and sacred task of preserving the dead. Throughout the centuries, Anubis has remained a symbol of the Egyptian fascination with death and the afterlife. His stories, passed down through hieroglyphs and ancient texts, continue to capture the imagination. He was not just a god of death, but a guide, a protector, and a guardian who ensured that death was not the end but merely the beginning of a journey to eternity. In every tomb painting and every burial rite, Anubis is there, watching over the dead, weighing their hearts, and guiding them through the mysteries of the afterlife. He represents the delicate balance between life and death, and his story is a reminder of the ancient Egyptians' deep respect for the process of death and their belief in a life beyond.